Disenchantment Season 3 finally hit Netflix. It was supposed to come out 2020 in the fall. It didn't. We got it January 15th. Finally. I've been so excited for this season, especially after that huge cliffhanger for Disenchantment. Now, this video is going to contain spoilers, but I'm going to talk about my non-spoiler thoughts first, and then I'm going to get to the spoilers, but I'll warn you when I get to it. So if you want to stick around for the non-spoiler part, cool. We'll start with that, and then if you want to skip ahead to the spoiler part, sure, do that. Do whatever the hell you want. It's my video. I do what I want. So after the events of last season and the cliffhanger, obviously this is going to contain spoilers for the first two seasons. It means that our characters were kind of on the run, and they're all going to different locations, and that part was great because one of the biggest complaints with this show is it didn't flesh out the world enough. We're stuck in stupid dreamland, and this dreamland is a cool place, and there's lots to explore there, and I'm enjoying exploring that. But it's also like you showed us this cool steampunk world at the end of season 2. We didn't really explore that. We got other kingdoms like Elfwood out there. We barely explored any of that. In fact, Elfwood became a part of Dreamland and stuff like that. And so it's kind of like, yeah, I like seeing our characters on the run. I also like seeing our characters more focused and more determined on their goals. Now, the other problem with this was that our characters were split apart, and that made it kind of frustrating, right? Because we don't see a lot of Lucy in this season. We don't see a lot of certain characters this season. We have certain characters that are in there now. All the characters are in the season, but they have specific reasons why they're not there for points in the story, and that made it very frustrating because why I like the show is our characters, and I like watching them go on this adventure together, and not seeing a lot of that was kind of frustrating. But it was also great seeing other worlds, seeing new characters, seeing all kinds of great, interesting places, and kind of seeing where this show could possibly go in a season 4. Now that was my non-spoiler my non-spoiler thoughts. So if you want to leave now for fear of spoilers for this season, do so now. I'm going to get into spoilers in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I really, really disagree with some of our characters' choices in this season. So after the events of season 2, it's just kind of weird. They keep teasing us with Bean's mom. Okay, she was at the beginning of season 2 because of how season 1 ended. You see her for a little bit, and then it's like, bye bye now. We don't really know anything. Season 3 comes around because you see her at the end of season 2 on that cliffhanger again, and then she just disappears. Bye bye now. We don't really know what her deal is. And then she comes back at the end of season 3 at the end, and apparently Bean's involved in some kind of wedding and ritual, which is interesting. I think it has to do with something that forgetting that three-eyed guy's name, but yeah, I don't know why Bean keeps trusting him. Like, she keeps trusting him. Okay, this guy tried to burn you alive last season at the end of the season. They're too trusting of him. Like, when Zog became king again, they should have burned him to the stake. Or, like, decapitated him, or at least put him in the dungeon for the whole season. Like, why do they keep trusting him? Also, Zog kind of going mad was kind of an interesting story, but they barely explored it. And there was a weird episode about the puppet, and that was kind of interesting. It looks like he's going to a mental institution or something, so we'll have to see where that goes. Lucy dying at the end of the season. See, that didn't hit as hard for me because I was looking at going, yeah, but I didn't see you for this whole season. And if I had seen you more on this adventure helping people, I would have enjoyed that part a lot more. and it's all, but so it's kind of lame. I know that, but I still enjoyed the death, and it was hilarious. He gets up to heaven, and he's like, "No, hell no!" And I was like, "Yeah, that's great." So we'll see how that goes. It's just weird. This is the second season out of the 3 seasons where one of our main characters died, and then something else happened to our other character, and we don't know what happened till the next season. Which I get it. It's cool to leave on a cliffhanger, but like there's a lot of fake out deaths in this show. We know Lucy ain't dead in this show. We know he's coming back. And if he doesn't, I'd be pretty pissed because he's one of the best characters in the show. We know Elfo isn't gonna die either. So I don't know what's gonna go on. Um, I think that guy with the what is it, the exorcism guy, I liked seeing him come back and seeing him come back into the story in an interesting way. I liked the elves finally finding out that the dreamland used to be home of the elves. That's kind of interesting. Are these the two people that they mentioned that kind of went to war against Bean's ancestors? Who knows? I'm interested to see where the next season goes. I'm hoping it comes out next year, but we'll see. It's kind of just like I don't know. I like see. Oh, well, I guess that's all the main spoiler spots. But I forgot to mention this episode. I really hated. I think it was episode 6, the last splash. That episode features Elfo leaving someone he fell in love with, and doing that, and him being depressed for a whole episode. And it's like Elfo already knows he could never have a shot with anyone. Like he's always pining after Bean. It's just kind of, and that part also got sidelined for some reason. I'm confused about what they were going for here. And it was just a whole episode of Elfo being pissy for no reason. And then it's like, okay, but what was I supposed to get out of that? It wasn't entertaining. And it's like, I would have been okay with that because they were trying to explore things with the characters. But it was like, it wasn't funny. And there was attempts at humor, like when Bean's talking to that mermaid, how she's always talking to herself in her own head. But the joke, when she does that, goes on so long that it's not funny. Because it's like, okay, I get the joke, and then it keeps going and going. It's like, stop. Okay? Because I got the joke, but you're just making the joke go on way longer than it ever should have. And so, like, yeah, this whole season was kind of like a really good season. It's just that episode and the plot with the mermaid. I'm sure that's going to come back into play, but like, I don't know. I liked the idea of being dealing with that, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see where that goes. I want them to explore an underwater kingdom. That would be pretty awesome. I mean, we saw we could see some interesting stuff with that. But it's just kind of like, I don't know. I liked his relationship with that one fortune teller lady, and the kind of backstory of why they couldn't be together. I thought that was something interesting, but it's just kind of like, okay. But I didn't get enough of that to be gripped into that story. It's just interesting. I don't know. I'm conflicted about a lot of stuff within this season. I really liked a lot of it. I really was frustrated by other points in the story. But I think overall this is the best season of the show because it does what the show probably should be more doing. It needs to be more story focused, less gag focused. Because Matt Groening has 2 comedy shows that are really great. He has Futurama. He has The Simpsons. And when this show was focused on comedy in the first 2 seasons, it's kind of like, yeah, I enjoyed some of those episodes. I laughed at quite a few of the jokes. But it's also like, we had 2 other shows that ran on for like 30 plus seasons, and then another one that went on for 9 seasons. And so I don't need more humor from him. I think him exploring a story show with that has like lore and interesting plot developments is what I'd like to see from him because it's an interesting direction. And so I like the show quite a bit. I want to see where the show goes. And I'm enjoying the plot, I'm enjoying the characters, and I cannot wait to see more.